Welcome to the Salt Pile Podcast, where we talk about stuff we've been doing. I'm Hank, and with me is Ben, who hasn't done shit.
Yeah, I was going to say that stuff that we are doing. Very heavy quotes.
We're here to talk about the video games I've been playing.
Because I legitimately haven't been playing games. I fucking bought, like, the Steam summer sale was right before my trip. So I bought, like, however many fighting games that I fucking didn't play any of them. Because I was doing shit.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man. I, like, have read part of a book. I watched a film, I guess, that I could I could talk about for 3 seconds. That's like it. I've been sitting and drinking in the lake is pretty much the entirety of my existence for the last month. But
nice.
I mean, on the bright side, this is, as we just said before hitting record, like, this is going to be basically a Baldur's Gate podcast episode, and there's enough gaming shit, general gaming shit around that I feel I can contribute. We can have a discussion, So
Sure.
I'm down. And then what else were you? You had like a few other things, except one of them is a no-go.
Yeah. I've been watching a TV show, but I'm not going to talk about that because of SAG. Because the reason we're doing this is because I'm sitting on the Batman episodes we've done.
Which is a lot.
Because
a lot of Batman.
It's a lot because we're way ahead. SAG-AFTRA put out general, like, guidelines for supporting the strike for podcasters, specifically asking people to not do rewatch podcasts. And as someone who listens to a lot of rewatch podcasts, it's really how I learned about this, because they decided they were going to change up what they were doing.
Yeah.
And if we hadn't been able to record anything, I probably still would have put those out, because we recorded them like fucking months before that ask.
Yeah.
We operate so far in the future, but we're just recording some quick stuff, the Dragon Ball movie commentaries.
The stars
will come out after this, but
the stars fucking aligned. I apologize, by the way, if there's like noises in the background. I think Anya's grandpa is like making a pair of shoes or something. So he's using a hammer. But the stars aligned where the Dragon Ball movies were short enough, and I had just enough time here.
Yeah.
So we were able to.
So depending on how long that thing goes in our schedules, some of those episodes might come out. But I'm gonna try and just sit on those until that strike's resolved.
Yeah. And I mean,
so
we got more Dragon Ball movies to watch. But yeah. Anyway, to the pile.
Yeah, anime. Anime, video games. That stuff's still.
Yeah.
Fair game.
Oh, that's the other thing, like, why I don't have anything, because the anime I've been watching is Urusei Yatsura, which we're gonna like talk about eventually.
Yeah.
At a distant, undisclosed point, undetermined point rather. Anyway, how's fucking Baldur's Gate 3?
Baldur's Gate 3 is pretty fucking incredible. It is a little buggy in Act 3.
Sure.
Gotten some dialogue out of order, but also I did some things to break stuff also.
Yeah, so. This fucking guy. I'm gonna beat the unbeatable thing. Oh, what? Dialogue's weird. So what? How many? Like, Act 3 is like? Is that like you mean like final phase of the game, or is there like 5 acts, or?
There are 3 acts.
Okay.
Act 1 was what was in early access, plus like the new classes and races.
Yeah. I mean,
but Act 1 is was the stuff they were working on and releasing as the game was in early access for like 2 years. Before like the last year of early access, they basically didn't do anything to it while they were finishing the game.
Yeah. So I've I mean, like, I've seen you and other people in the Discord and everything, like, talking about it for a while because it's been in early access and stuff. And it never really, like, I think I started up Baldur's Gate 1, like, ages ago, but that was where I was, like, old enough to want to check out the classics, but young enough to not really realize that classics meant, like, way fucking far removed from games I was used to. So I bounced hard off of it.
Yeah.
But so I didn't really pay much attention. But then seeing all this shit, like how open it is and everything. I mean, like how much you can do, like the creativity side of shit in particular. You know, all of that. That's like my fucking jam. I'm trying not to play video games right now just because I'm a feast or famine type of guy. So I'm like, if I start playing video games while Ani's not here, then I'm going to be bitchy when I have to stop playing them later. That's no good. So I was real tempted though. I had an entire fucking 30-hour travel period. I was like, I could buy it. It's Steam Deck verified. I could fucking buy it and go balls deep.
Good.
I didn't though. I held back.
You might have been able to get through the end of Act 1.
Dude, seeing all this...
It's because it's funny. Like, you could get to the end of Act 1 very quickly, but if you kind of
can't you, like, beat the game? Isn't it, like, less than 30 hours if you just hard rail the story? Or something?
Yeah, particularly if you played on, like, easy story mode, you could definitely beat it really quickly.
Easy story mode, Hank. I'm a gamer, okay?
Because I feel like the main thing with mainlining it would just be if you had getting enough experience for the game as you level up.
Oh, sure.
Because this is based on D&D, the max level is 12. So like levels are like hard points of increasing the strength of your character, really. Like if you're not like the difference between level 4 and level 5 is immense.
Oh yeah.
Really.
I mean, and I really like it kind of overlaps a little with a lot of the traditional, like, one-person made roguelikes that I play now and again and got really into a while back. And there's a lot that just use the D&D system. And, you know, those are really open and you can do a lot. And they use that system basically exactly. But also... they're fucking ASCII graphics or a step above. So, you know, it'd be nice to have that in a modern game, in a modern looking game, feeling game, which is what this seems like, which is cool.
Cinematic.
The hard, like a level up meaning something sounds so fucking appealing because there's so many games that have levels and they just, it means like nothing. Like they have them to have them. I think the one I think of.
I've also been playing Final Fantasy XVI.
I mean, I was thinking of like
where enemies scale.
Oh yeah,
and your gear is just numbers, but they don't really mean anything.
Sure. See, I guess I was thinking more in line with like also useless RPG mechanics, like for specifically Horizon Zero Dawn, where it's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, RPG mechanics so often in games are like how the game's monetizing you.
Yeah.
Also, rather than like role playing.
So, one of the big things that I didn't know Baldur's Gate had, and which I had told you like was kind of a selling point. I saw a fucking YouTube video. It was by Joel Harbour, for people who know him. He does like the funny rotoscope stuff. Like the awkward, I don't know, like whatever. The video is real life if it was Baldur's Gate 3, and it's just like dude wakes up, fucking like rolls a dice to do everything and all that. And there was like the person narrating stuff, like you come to the coffee machine and see that someone has already made a pot. But you don't, like, something like that, right? Like the female. Yeah. And I'm like, is this in the fucking, like, this is a thing? This is so cool. And then I just like, 10 seconds of searching and happen to find a random clip. And it's like, holy shit, that's just in the game. And it's such a dumb thing to hone in on, but like that sort of narration stuff is so cool to me. Like, I don't know, it just struck a chord. And then I found the link from that was like that voice actress having like outtakes. She's like 4 apostrophes. This is some fantasy bullshit, but it's in like still like kind of in character. I'm like, this is great. But I didn't want to look like too far into shit because I want to get the game. I don't want shit spoiled for story or
there's not a ton of the narration unless you're playing as the Dark Urge, and then there's more narration.
Guess what I'm gonna play as?
Because the thing with the Dark Urge is that's the one of the so you can make your own character or you can choose an origin character that like has a backstory or whatever. And most of the origin characters are the characters you can recruit for your party early on.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can have this character in your party, and then you can, on like another playthrough, you can play as them or something. That's like a thing in the Divinity Original Sin games also.
Oh, okay.
That like Larian likes to do. Where just like they can have this character with stuff's written for them, and they can leverage that in these 2 ways. The Dark Urge is a character where you actually get to customize them, like choose their race and class as much as you want.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Their origin, that they're this serial killer with who has amnesia, is then applied to you. So it's like kind of like the closest thing was just like the intro to Disco Elysium kind of thing, where it's just like there's the narration is like talking about how you feel, but like it's how you feel like you just need to kill things.
Yeah.
Just like physically your body wants to murder.
Oh, that's fucking wild.
And you get like, so if you play as the Dark Urge, then you have all these extra dialogue choices that are fucking horrific.
Yeah. Oh, that's fucking sick though.
Like the one they showed off before the game came out, when they were revealing this character, is like, you see there's like early on, one of the characters, you meet them by like their hand is sticking out of a portal.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Dark Urge has this unique dialogue that's, you imagine ripping off the hand.
Hell yeah.
And then the thing that when you pick that, the narrator talks about you imagining it, and then, oh no, you've done it. So that's basically they like the general consensus. The general thing is like Dark Urge, it's good for a second playthrough because it's different. So you can see all this extra stuff, because it is like it is going to lead you down this particular story path for this particular character. That's not like you were just role playing your own thing. Like they have a history. But
it's actually
a cool thing.
That's that ties in very nicely in a few different ways, with both that theme and you mentioning Disco Elysium, because that was kind of I don't want to say a standard by any means, but it's a thing that I had talked about and we've discussed, I think, before whenever I was talking about it, which is it let me do what I want. Like, obviously you have this character and like there's only so many choices within that character's world or whatever, but for those choices, there was a lot of times when I was thinking to myself like, oh man, I kind of want to do this, and then that was a thing that I like had an option to do, which just felt really fucking good for me specifically, because like everything was just lining up. And one of the things was like, you have an option to like try to get some armor off of a dead person, like cyber armor or something, and like based on your character you can like do different things, and like my character was just strong, so I'm like, well, you couldn't get all of it. I'm like, well, can I just like fucking rip him in half and take part of it? I could do it. Oh, but then the armor is stuck on him. okay, well, how are we going to get it off? There's like different options and whatever.
Uh-huh.
You can put it in boiling water to boil the flesh off. So I do that naturally. And I think to myself, as I'm choosing this option, I'm like, man, decayed boiled flesh water. I want to taste it. Literally the next option was like, take a sip. I was like so fucking happy that the game like knew what I wanted to do.
You were just on the same wavelength as the person who fucking wrote out that.
Yeah, dude.
that particular interaction.
And there was a ton of different ways you could take that, right? Like if you had a different character, like you probably could have not seen that at all because you would have been able to get all the armor off or something. Yes. I don't know. But this, and that is a more contained thing, obviously, but this just seems like the more open version of that. Like the bits I've seen about people, like I saw you guys mentioning, like you can stack up crates before a battle to get like a height advantage.
Yeah.
Like you can hit buttons, like just the things that they let you fucking do. And you guys talking about how
I would say the big difference is
D&D.
that this isn't a game that exists entirely in dialogues. So you have all your D&D verbs that they give you, and the game really lets you play the game with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the game has you have a button for shove, you have a button for jump. The game is thinking about ways in which you would use these things.
Yeah. That like, I mean, this is why in particular also this game I'm like I can't start. Like it's gonna be bad.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because on top of that, like, then it's like the different axes of play. They're all fun. I find
also
because I really like the combat too.
Also, like how fucking deep it is in terms of like cinematics and story and shit. And I guess not story. I meant dialogue. It has like an insane amount apparently. I think.
Yeah, it's a game built for you to not see everything, right?
Yeah.
Like so many modern games are designed with like, we're going to spend money on this. It's an expensive game, but we want players to see all the things we did.
Yeah.
And this is a game where they're like, no one is going to see all the things we did in one playthrough. That is never going to happen. The people that really want to see everything in one playthrough, they're going to be kind of annoyed, but you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff about like how certain times things trigger. And like they're just people like trying to figure it out and like trying to figure out how to do all of it's like developers are kind of like some of it you're just gonna miss. It's just gonna happen.
So I had a number in my head and I was pretty sure I was remembering it correctly. I looked up to confirm and then to confirm the stat that I remembered with it. The devs came out and said they had around 174 hours of cutscenes. For context, if you watched all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, that's like 70 hours. Yeah. So like it's a fuckload. They said like 2 million lines of like they have like more dialogue than all of the Mass Effect 3 trilogy combined or something like that. Like just a shitload.
Yeah.
Which like,
and that makes sense just because like there's a lot of dialogue that's specific to specific situations that you're generally not going to see both of it. Yeah.
Doing it though. Like that's what has me popping off.
Yeah, it's like head. It's just it's like this perfect storm of this good independent developer then getting the license for D&D, this big property, and then expanding and hiring out to make this game as expansive and ridiculous as the guy running the studio wants it to be, because what he wanted to do is make the game he wants to play.
Yeah.
Right. And like, so like as the studio's in this period of just pure growth, just making this game and then like getting the time to do it through COVID and all that stuff. Like it just came together with like this situation that just isn't normal for game development.
I've seen a few things on it now. And probably what happened is I like clicked on one of them, and now the internet has decided I want to see all of them. Regarding, like, I'm trying to think what the non-clickbaity version of the title is. Like, just like other game studios or game developers, like, not necessarily bashing this game, but like talking about like it's too open or something like that. The clickbait titles I see are like, Baldur's Gate 3 has game devs worried, or like game studios hate because something, like now they have to try or whatever. But the gist was just that, like, yeah, it's an independent publisher like making this crazy expansive game and everything else in a time where like a lot of games that come out that try to be that expansive are they're not as deep, or they don't have whatever thing going on for them, if that makes sense. Have you seen any of that? Have you like read anything? Or
I've mostly ignored it.
okay, no, that's fair. You have the game to play, so
yes.
imagine playing the game instead of just reading about it.
I'm like, I'm not that worried about the future of games right now. I'm playing a really fucking huge game that I'm really enjoying.
Yeah.
But like,
that's how it should be.
Like if I think about it, like if you're BioWare, you're making the next Dragon Age, like I could see how you'd be a little worried.
Yeah.
If you're out here making a role playing game that's like doesn't have, it's not even about like having this level of depth, like kind of coming close.
Yeah,
just because like, games have been, it's hard to, the thing that this game does that's really impressive once you've like played a lot of it is like that just doesn't happen in games enough, is setting up a thing early and paying it off late. Because like you have to then track that thing through the whole game, and then you have all these permutations of it because it happened back there. Like the Act 3, the way it's structured in this game is like every character who's not fucking dead, it's like bringing them back. And not like every character, but like there's like a lot of your interactions that end with characters earlier in the game is, well, I'll see you in Baldur's Gate. And then you get to Act 3, you get to Baldur's Gate, and then you have this whole city to explore, and they all have their next step of their story or whatever. As the main story is converging on stuff. And that's just a lot. And like, there's some extent to which you shouldn't build a game that way, because that's a lot of labor. It's a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
And like, if your goals are different, like if your goals is to have a cinematic game at a level that's above this, like it's not like this is the best looking game ever.
Oh yeah.
It looks good in the right ways, in that like there's enough good facial animation in it. It's like really the thing that I think is important.
From the bits I've seen, literally it looks like it balances, like for how deep it is and the other shit it's doing. Like, again, I'm used to like, oh, something super wide is gonna be like ASCII graphics.
Yeah,
but it seems like this is a pretty good balance of like graphics, gameplay, story, all of that. I guess I don't know anything about the music, which is kind of wild, but I assume it's fine.
Yeah. I don't think about it that much, but
I mean,
it's been good.
It's that's one of
the bigger things. It's like, because like a lot of the games are just more ambient.
Yeah.
But then you can, I don't know, when you play your song as a bard, there are various songs. They're pretty good. People will throw money at you.
What's your character, by the way?
My main character started as a paladin through level 6, and then I went I multi-classed into Bard for the rest of my levels.
What race setup you got?
I'm a Drow.
Nice.
Because I wanted people to, because I liked the evil races, like the bad guys, like just recognize you, and like part of the story is you can just walk into their camp if you don't
hell
your cards
yeah.
right. So I just wanted that story part of that to work. But yeah. And just people say fucked up things too sometimes. It's like, okay.
Hell yeah,
see how
dude.
it is. Also, you get the option to say really fucked up shit, which I mostly don't take. Because I'm like technically I worship Loth. Like, I can say some really foul shit when I get my Loth character options.
Jesus.
But also, I'm a Oathbreaker druid, paladin.
Mm.
And the way you do Oathbreaker is when you make your character, you pick an oath.
Yeah.
If you break that, if you do a thing. So I picked Oath of Vengeance, and then I was fighting some fucking tieflings that were just dumb, and I was like, I don't want to kill these goofballs. So I switched on the don't murder your target, like just hit them down to 1, which is like a passive toggle you can hit. And then as soon as I didn't murder them, I got my oath was broken. Like super early, I was like, "Oh, huh, all right, I'll ride with that." So
hell yeah!
I didn't really mean to be an Oathbreaker, but
so
the only problem with Oathbreaker is it's the only class that you can't easily respec in the game. You actually have to reclaim your oath if you want to respec.
Oh, I mean, I guess, yeah, I can see it.
Whereas, like, I have respect all the other 3 characters that I use in my party, but I didn't actually change their classes. I just changed their builds slightly.
Gotcha.
Because you can change the class of any of the origin characters, but their story is still written for them to like be that specific class. Like that's how they're gonna think about themselves or whatever.
Gotcha.
But just for like your strategic benefit, you can respect them to whatever, or you can get hirelings who don't have any story to them.
Strategy in my tabletop RPG? I think fucking not.
Well, those are the 3. There's the story mode, there's the balance, and there's tactician. I'm playing unbalanced for this playthrough.
But
I'm already thinking like I could do a story playthrough and I could do a tactician playthrough.
What is that? What do those modes change specifically?
I don't really know.
This guy brings.
I think on story mode, if you use skills like friendship, like the charm skills that if they expire, the person gets mad at you. I think they don't get mad at you on easier settings. That's like the one thing I know that's different. On tactician, there'll be more enemies and they'll use different tactics. I think there'll also be more shit like more exploding barrels around. Like the enemies will be more devious with using the tools of the game than they are on normal.
This just says everybody's only talking about tactician versus balanced.
Yeah.
No one's even mentioning story. Oh, explorer. It's not story, you fake fan. It's explorer.
Explorer? Yes, that's what they branded it as.
Fights are easier because enemies have less health and your team has better chances to hit. Balance is the sweet spot. Normal enemies.
There's also a separate setting that's just karmic die, which is just if you've rolled too many bad rolls in a row, it'll give you a good roll.
That's interesting.
Which I think I just have on because I'm fucking save scumming anyway. I don't give a shit.
Tactician mode is hard and needs smart thinking. It's for I'm gonna paraphrase here. It's for real gamers.
It's for gamers.
Enemies are tough and intelligent. They deal more damage and they use good tactics.
Yeah.
pros. I guess
It's just
yeah,
what do you like? Like think about it. I was like, what kind of DM do you want? Do you want your DM to be a fucking asshole who's trying to kill you all the time? Play a tactician.
Yeah,
You want a DM who's like just wants to get you to the story and is gonna like scoot some die rolls in your favor. If it's close, then play on
because
Explorer.
I mean, I would definitely like probably roll balanced, but I guess tactician or not would be not even like because of the nature of the game. It's like, do I want to plan this much? Like, do I want to think?
The bigger thing with tactician is just like the game. It's going to take longer to get through the game because combat's going to take longer.
It's actually funny you mentioned save scumming because I was thinking about how this is a game that I would love to not like do any saving shenanigans on. Like, just let it fucking ride. Oops, killed this person I didn't want to kill.
Yeah.
Well, shit happens.
I could see doing that for a playthrough. That isn't how I felt like playing the game the first time. I felt like seeing the game. Except in cases where I'm fucking breaking shit. Yeah. I'm pushing stuff, and then I don't see things. But mostly I wanted to see the things.
So it's saves coming to get like all the different shit as opposed to like saves coming because you did a thing you didn't want to do or you messed up or whatever.
There's some of both.
Well, some of both, but like the end goal being like to see more shit.
Look, I let Volo knock my eyeball out with an ice pick.
Bitch,
I'm not out here like
who Volo is.
He wrote Volo. There's a D&D book like Volo's Guide to Everything, which is like all the fucked up monsters or whatever. I don't know. It's one of the books. He's in fucking stuff. But mostly that's where I knew him is like there's like a book of monsters.
Gotcha.
It's called Volo's Guide to Stuff or Everything or whatever. He's a magic card. I can show you the magic card.
Ugh. Man, we're supporting the SAG strikes, but we're still talking about magic.
Here, that's Volo. He's a 3/2 human wizard.
Who the hell am I? Who the hell am I thinking of? Is there? Am I crazy? Who's the? I know him from Soul Calibur, but he was in a different game. He's from a different game, I think.
This is the D&D book.
Voldo. There's a D in it.
Oh.
Voldo. I forgot the D. Oh, okay. Nice. But yeah, when you said Volo, that's who I mentioned immediately. It was Voldo. I'm like, that's wild.
That's a different person.
Yep. I forgot the D.
Different interests.
Yeah. Oh man, like Baldur's Gate currently the game I'm most excited to play whenever I start playing games again.
Sure.
Probably
Baldur's
before
Gate. The only game I've played this year where you can choose if you're circumcised or not.
Yeah, not even Street Fighter 6 character creation lets you get into that shit.
It doesn't have the sliders.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you get to choose like genital slider stuff?
No, it doesn't have sliders. Everything's like a preset.
Oh, but like, can you?
Because they wanted to like keep. They explicitly were like wanted it to keep it in the lines of like looking a certain way, instead of like giving you the full freedom of making something fucked up.
Okay, fine. I'll be direct. Can you choose your package size?
No.
You
can only choose if you're circumcised or not circumcised, or if if you're shaved or not.
Well,
and it's like penis B,
What
being
about
a C and being a D.
What about a titty slider?
No titty slider.
No titty slider?
Some
Are you fucking
the only
kidding me?
body type, it's either some races you just have male female body types.
Yeah.
Others you can be male female, but also skinny or buff.
Sure.
So there are 4, and then
Well,
you can
not
choose
even.
gender and pronouns separately,
Yeah.
and voice separately, and all that stuff.
Damn. I mean, that's still like it's not. I mean, like, it's probably
Yeah,
fine,
like faces,
but, like,
you can only get to pick from like 6 per race.
That's not like
and maybe per sub race.
I don't
And then
mind a little bit of limitation. Saves
There
me
are
from
a ton of hair options that are pretty good,
yeah.
and then like makeup and all that stuff,
Look,
facial scars.
a bit of limitation in character creation isn't too bad because like Street Fighter 6, I spent like 3 hours and I'm still like not really satisfied. I just kind of had to start playing at some point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I will go in.
Yeah. I'm like, so just give me something to shove over this character's face. Some piece of cosmetics I never have to look at his face again.
Yeah. How many hours have you gotten it? Has to be like 80. I'm gonna hang on. I'm gonna say 87.
That's close for this playthrough, but
What's
my-
your Steam
or-
count?
for my clock on that playthrough, but that doesn't count like saves scumming stuff or whatever, or like going back that I redid, and it doesn't count the 18 hours I spent in early access like the week before it came
What
out.
does your Steam count say, sir?
116.9 hours.
This fucker.
Currently.
Last I saw, you were at 70. I couldn't. To be fair, I couldn't remember when I last saw it. So
Yeah, I've done a lot since then.
yeah.
I killed a lot of worshippers of Baal.
Nice.
I'm gonna send you.
Send me what?
The magic card of Baal.
You think I don't know what ball looks like?
Baal, the Lord of Murder.
That's not what I was picturing.
Sure. The thing you should probably picture for Baldur's Gate is the logo of Baldur's Gate.
Makes sense. Oh, hang on here. Oh, see,
like
it's
original
another,
Baldur's Gate.
it's another fucking classic one. I was imagining ball without the H. Ugh. It's just like classic, like devil, demon, like kind of goat looking thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Fucking.
But this is D&D.
Got me. There's an H. I'm forgetting the D. I'm missing the H. Getting absolutely fucked on consonants today.
It's the Baldur's Gate 1 here.
Well, don't fucking spoil Baldur's Gate 1. I'm going to play it and 2 before doing 3.
It's the Baldur's Gate 1 logo.
I know what the fuck this guy does. I told you I'm a fucking gamer. I know what the Baldur's Gate logo looks like. This guy.
But yeah. Yeah, up front, Baldur's Gate 3 really felt more like Larian making D&D 5th edition.
Yeah, but then you mentioned like something turns it into a Baldur's Gate game.
Yeah, now I'm in Act 3, and now it's Baldur's. Because I'm in Baldur's Gate.
Do I need to play Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2?
No, but if you have, you would get references. If you know about Baldur's Gate, there are references you would get. But it's not fucking necessary at all. It would just be other backstory. the game takes place like 100 years after the events of the first two games.
That's way too close.
A couple hundred.
That sounds necessary.
There are 2 of your party member characters that you get later that are from those games.
See, it just sounds necessary.
But I don't think it's necessary.
I'm gonna do
enhancing.
it. Just like I played Witcher 1 and 2 before playing 3.
Okay. Those original 2 games are very different video games.
Oh no, I know.
Because they're real time with pause games. They're not turn based.
Yeah.
And me, I prefer turn based. I find it more fun.
I think in this I would like for this kind of game I would definitely want the turn based. Just because like that's how
D&D works.
I was gonna say with D&D, like if you're giving me D&D, give me the turn based.
Mm-hmm. But like I don't know, but I like never played those games at the time.
Yeah. Same. I don't think I existed yet.
I've never played those games actually. I only know about them because of a podcast called Mages and Murder Dads, where they like play through bits of it and then talk about, like, the podcast is them talking about the parts of the game they just played. It's kind of, I love that format is so cool, but it's like only worth it in like a game where there is a role playing that you're like allowed to do, so that their playthroughs are different.
Yeah.
So part of what makes it interesting.
Oh shit. Okay. Baldur's Gate came out in 98. I thought it was earlier than that.
Yeah.
I was around.
No. Yeah, those games aren't super old.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was like I could have in theory tried playing that game if it had been laying around. Mm-hmm. But if it came out in like 96, 2-year-old me wasn't quite there yet.
I mean, Baldur's Gate 2 is like 2000?
Sounds right. I have both of them on GOG.
Look at this guy. Already owns them. What a gamer.
Yeah. I don't even know if I paid for them. I feel like they were probably free at some point. Or $1 or whatever.
Sure.
I might have even have put more time into them, except I started Neverwinter Nights. Is that right? Neverwinter Nights. Yeah, that's or something. This is incorrect.
Sure.
I started a game that was a point and click, and where you have to like get different objects and like solve puzzles that way and shit. And the writing was superb, and I was having a pretty good time. It turns out that game has literally what some people consider to be like one of the most difficult like object assembly puzzles in like any game. Like it's the one where you maybe if it sounds familiar, you have to like deflate a rubber duck thing and then like put this other like a stick on it and do all this other shit that makes zero fucking sense whatsoever in the context of the game at that point. And then everything else after is like normal, but I hard bounced after that. And in my head, I was like, I'm not even more than like 3 hours deep into this. I don't want to know what's coming next. So I bailed.
Sure.
Maybe old games just aren't for me. At the time.
With walkthroughs.
At
I just
the
look
time.
shit up.
I refuse. I look shit up later. And then I felt a little
It's been interesting for me playing this game because sometimes I've looked shit up and like it's just not out there. The answer to this thing that I'm looking for is not out there yet. This game has not been fully mined.
Yeah.
Like particularly if I'm looking at like some small thing that's not main plot related.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is like some of it is also just like all the SEO on this game was like eaten up by early access stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want anything Act 1 extensively documented except for
It's
stuff
wrong.
that's changed.
Yeah.
Like there's this part where you could forge pieces of armor, and like even in the wiki, like one of the pieces, like half the information was inconsistent with itself. Most of them was fine. One of the pieces had like 2 different numbers for how much AC it gave. I was like, well, what?
Oh,
What's going on here?
yeah. Dude, I was pretty.
So that's been interesting. So like, or like I've been looking, if I'm looking up what a character, where you can find a character who was in Act 1, and now I'm looking for where they are in Act 3. Nightmare.
Yep. I was pretty pleasantly surprised looking up a wiki thing. I wanted to see what the differences were between an episode of Urusei Yatsura and the manga. And it wasn't even like one of the big episodes, because like there are a few that, you know, that people consider to be the best. This is like a one-off, because I just couldn't remember the manga that well. That wiki is extensive.
Nice.
First off, you don't even need to watch the damn episodes. They have them, at least for the ones I was poking around in, like they're just completely written out, like every single fucking thing that happens in minute detail. And then at the bottom for each one, there's like a trivia, and like I forget if it was under trivia or they just had manga differences, but like very extensive also. So that was very nice. Just poking around in there. Didn't even care about half the episodes, but I just like it.
Sure.
Yeah, that I didn't notice the search engine optimization shit until, I mean, I still think I didn't notice it even after you started talking about it, because just the stuff I happened to look up, but then it finally got bad enough that even the simple shit I wanted to look up was getting affected. And it's just some shit is just ridiculous now.
Well, it's just like they've like eaten video game walkthrough space, but now they don't even bother to like finish their articles because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
They only need like the initial information, and then it's not worth doing the rest of it.
Yeah. I think it's also that it's all like partial, right? Like if I want a thing from a game, but like I might want to look a little bit on either side of it, and you can't find it because all you get is a like tiny mini article, for lack of a better word, about like how to do that exact thing, if it's even correct.
Yeah, totally. Or you can watch a YouTube video doing it.
Take me back to fucking Game Facts with the ASCII art game logo at the top of each walkthrough.
Yeah.
And just read that shit.
Yeah, that's the benefit of playing an old game.
I wonder if anybody's making those for new games. Like probably not something like Baldur's Gate 3 because it's so huge, but just like a more linear thing. Think anyone's out there doing the ASCII logos and the whole deal?
Probably.
I hope so. It's such a nostalgic
I don't know what
space.
the right thing to do it for would be.
I don't know. What's the last linear game you played that was newish?
Final Fantasy XVI.
There you go. There you are. Right there. Bam. Good segue, by the way. Well done. How's that? Did you beat it?
I did beat it.
Was it worth it?
Well, the problem is it peaks.
Yeah, you
It
even told me
peaks
how
when
it peaks.
Godzilla and Mothra do the fusion dance to defeat King Ghidorah. And then it's kind of all downhill from there.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Like the game is like, it's like completely resting on just get me to the next spectacle fight against these icons that are like these huge bespoke quick time event fueled things. They're basically just Azura's Wrath. But the last couple of them suck. Like, part of it is the main villain is so fucking boring. He sucks all the life out of the villain that you fight before him. Is the other big major villain. Like, him being like a lackey to that guy also makes him completely boring. To the point where, like, in the middle of your fight with him, he just turns into the Green Goblin for no reason. Like, he just starts cackling like the Green Goblin, which is not his character at all for the whole rest of the game. But it's just like, he has to do something. His whole thing is how, like, human beings shouldn't have will. And so I'm going to kill you. Like, he lives in a ghost city.
I mean,
where everyone's been zombified, basically.
Every single word you've said has, like, been my stereotype of Final Fantasy stuff. Like, boring villain.
Sure.
I can even imagine how subs or dubs for audio. I don't know if they have both or if you just get one. Is it just English?
I mean, no, if it's video games, generally I'll do English, particularly if there's talking while I'm doing something.
Okay. Tell me how close I am. Does that any
also the voice sync is for the English track. The lip sync.
Oh
is
yeah,
for the English track.
Tell me how close I am. I believe that human beings should have free will. Yeah, something like that. Raspier or less raspier? He said it with like kind of a shudder, right? Was he on the ground? Just thinking that human.
So part of the problem is, like, there's a lot of the game where the main character, like, can't even put that together. Like, he's such an idiot.
There's such a distinct image in my head.
I don't know, but that's not what Final Fantasy VII's about, and that's the Final Fantasy I like.
Oh, not I just meant like the stereotype, the stereotype of delivery and shit.
Sure.
FF16. Free will.
The other problem is the best character in the game, like, dies. You're like the third way through the game, so I just missed him. He was kind of the thing that was making, like, that actor was just good at delivering lines, so I just would have rather had him stay around.
Is this the trailer where the dude kept saying something? He kept saying, like, I typed in Final Fantasy 16 free will, and the first thing that came up is like the kind of fiery looking person.
Mm-hmm.
And that reminded me of the trailer.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Strangers of Paradise, where it was about killing chaos?
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay.
That's Stranger of Paradise.
What are you trying to do? Oh, yeah.
The bigger problem, like, the plot being dumb it also would be fine, but this game doesn't let you just, like, have your party hang out together, like, hang out with your characters.
Yeah.
It's, like, fundamental to what makes RPGs good is having your party and just, like, the character interactions. So, like, it doesn't matter that the story's stupid or cliche, because you just want fun character interactions and hanging out. And it just, like, drops the ball there.
Yeah. That's disappointing. Dude, hanging out
and
with
it
the party
particularly drops the
like...
ball with its fucking female characters. Like, it's just bad.
That sucks.
Like, she doesn't even get to go on the fucking final mission.
Great.
Her like loyalty mission equivalent, like, is like you and your brother looking for going on around the world together to, like, find her flower or whatever, but not, like, involving her in her own fucking quest line.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
sounds delightful. Man,
Also, like that game, it like wants to be a game where people fuck, but the only people who fuck are villains who get murdered. Like it treats like it falls completely into the
I
whores and Madonnas trope.
I have an important question that I forgot to ask. Can you bone down in Baldur's Gate?
Yeah, there's romance
Oh.
scenes. That's why you choose your penis.
I mean, I figured, but
Although
like,
you
I
only
just
you
want
only
to
see it
confirm.
as like because you're lying around naked or whatever after you've boned.
Yeah, sure. I'm
before
not
you bone.
asking for the full fucking 3D model porn scene
Yeah.
that someone rigged up that I'm
No,
sure a developer
like
has done
everyone
their
in your
free
party
time.
wants to fuck you, and you can like say no and then like relationships develop differently depending on the character.
How much of
Kind
a
of.
harem can I set myself up with?
In my experience, kind of can't.
Well, that's disappointing.
Most of the ladies are more want to be monogamous. Now the big druid elf, he's down for fucking whoever, for what I can tell.
God, did I?
But they said up front that polyamory is a thing, but also most of the characters don't seem into it, from what I can tell. It seems more like there's some characters who are fine with you sleeping around, and then there are some other characters you can sleep with who aren't party characters. Like there's some NPCs you can sleep with,
Gotcha.
but if you're fucking married, like my character is at this point, that's an avenue to divorce.
Yeah.
Like there's a brothel you go to where there's like twin drows, male and female, and like they want to fuck you and your partner, but my partner was not into it, so it didn't happen. And also, I wasn't that into it either. But that was that's in the video game.
Is one of the dialogue options for that just looking at your partner and going, huh?
Basically.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I forgot. I was gonna ask that earlier. In particular, when you talked about the penis option.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, romance is definitely a big part of the game.
Hell yeah.
Supporting that.
Selling
And they
revenge.
like tried to think about doing it in a way that's a little better than video games normally do it.
What do you mean? In what way?
Well, just like, that like direct line of like doing their quest or whatever, or getting something for them, and like it progressing like in a set way.
Oh, sure.
Like that.
So what's
like either Mass Effect or like Stardew Valley being examples.
Yeah.
But they were trying to be a little bit better than.
What did they do?
Well,
How
it's
does it
mostly
do
like
it?
you just like there
Talk
are
to them?
points in the story where just like romantic scenes happen kind of more organically or whatever.
Okay.
Just based, and they're not set for every character. Like depending on who you're romancing, it progresses differently or whatever based on the character. Again, I've only romanced one character, so I haven't seen all the
but you're not just
variation.
doing.
But I know.
You're not like building a thing by bringing them their socks
Like-
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like the character I romanced is like at the beginning of the game just wants to bone and has like no interest in romance or whatever. And even like I was like flirting and building a relationship with another character at the same time who was also more open. Like also some of the characters are more open in Act 1. And then like you have like a part of the story where you more commit to them or whatever. And then you don't go sleeping around after that.
Yeah. Man, it would be. There's such a good opportunity to turn like the fetch quest sequence of like romance options or whatever. I just turn it on its head by like someone gives you the most inane bullshit fetch quest of all time, and they reward you with head or whatever. Like just. Be pretty good. No, that sounds great though. Like that's the good shit. It's gonna be.
I mean the big thing that like got the game a shitload of press before it came out was them showing off a scene with the druid who got too excited during makeout time and turned into a bear, and then you had the option to be into it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that vaguely. And then people, because people make, do you remember the green text was Sir Barrington? Does that ring any bells?
No.
No, just your usual bullshit green text about like playing Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. Make my character a bear. Put everything into charisma. Convince everyone that I am not a bear. Then one dude rolls one dude passes the check or whatever, and he starts talking about like, oh my god, there's a bear at the table and blah blah blah. But no one else passes the check, so they're like, what the fuck are you talking about, Lord Barrington? We are so sorry. So people were like bringing that back into it.
I saw a thing about someone who was like trying to play the game just as like the 4 bears, as like having his party of rangers just like sit on the edge of the map and just going around as just the bear pets and seeing the ways that broke the game.
Damn. Were they
like
able to do much?
Well, some enemies wouldn't get triggered at all, like at all.
Oh. Yeah, I guess.
And then some other ones did. But then also like trying to solve certain puzzles because you don't have like a ranged attack.
Yeah. That's pretty great though. It's great. It says a lot that you can even think of like attempting to do that. Like,
it's just like, yeah, there are different ways you can approach encounters or whatever.
Yeah. I remember
like the way I solved that impossible encounter was I stacked up all my explosives around him in a circle, which he didn't care about. And then set it off before I started to fight him so that he only had a little bit of health so I could then take him out before he triggered like his next phase.
Yeah, it's just classic.
As like a million enemies start swarming me around me.
Yeah.
We're all in the room.
I mean, I remember I should probably just go back and now I'll have Baldur's Gate 3, but Divinity Original Sin 2 never got around to getting too in depth with because just was a multiplayer thing, and then I tried multiplayer a couple times and I didn't really feel like doing single player, but I remember having a bunch of good setup shit there too, and that's like it's such a good fucking feeling.
Yeah, like the like setting up barrels and the way fire worked in that game were pretty big. Just like exploding area, like the environmental stuff.
I feel like there was another game.
This game does also build on.
I feel like there was another game recently that was good for that, but I can't think of what it would be. Like like setting stuff up. A game that wasn't Mechabellum.
Baldur's Gate 3 also has multiplayer.
Hell yeah. I'm down to do some multiplayer for like 6 hours and then never touch it ever again.
Hell yeah. Make our multiplayer characters that will never get out of Act 1.
Yeah, that just sit there for eternity.
Yeah. Although the thing that's really funny to me is like how dedicated they were to like making it. It also has like pick up and play local multiplayer.
Oh,
damn.
Damn.
Split screens.
That's pretty good. That's fucking wild.
Dedication to the gamers. That's why it hasn't shipped on That's why there's no release date for Xbox currently, because I couldn't solve the making it have good frame rate on the Series S currently. Without more work.
I assume
So
it has.
put that problem off.
Is it even coming to Switch ever?
Maybe one day, I don't know.
Maybe Switch 2.
There's no date, I think, for Switch.
Yeah, that
There's
makes
a date.
sense. That makes fucking sense.
PlayStation's coming. Yeah, it was just PlayStation and PC, I think, at launch.
It'll come to Switch.
PlayStation got pushed a week, so they pushed up PC. Because they were like, if we push back, then we're up against Starfield. If we push up, then we come out before Starfield.
Yeah,
on PC, and then we only have to have the PC version ready.
It'll come out on Switch and
I feel like this has been a great argument for not releasing all the versions of your game at exactly the same time.
Yeah. No, I don't. For a lot of stuff, like something like Call of Duty, I think it's important, maybe, especially if it's in the era of like crossplay and everything. But for other shit, like fucking, if people get huffed about it, like whatever, it's a video game. Like you'll get to play it.
Mm-hmm.
No, that shit 100% will come to Switch in like 5 years. Everybody will hail it as another impossible port. How did they do it? How did they pull it off? You'll fire up the game. Everything will be like a 2-polygon triangle, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, it's so impressive!" And it'll be blurry enough to make your head spin and everything else.
Well, maybe Switch 2 will be out by the time, or be announced by the time they finish the Xbox port. So
Okay,
they
and then
won't have
they'll
to worry about it.
They'll get to throw it on there with a 4-polygon triangle instead.
Yeah.
If whatever Nintendo does next is even remotely equivalent to like the PS5, I'd fucking.
Well, no,
I
it
don't
just
know.
needs to be like equivalent to the PS4.
I don't even think that, dude. Like it's. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Seems like you're asking a lot.
I would think it could be way weaker, but they've gotten bad at putting their own shit on the Switch. That's the bigger thing to me. Is like Nintendo's games have been sucking. And like Pokemon was a fucking disaster.
Well, it's because they have these visions, but the visions require hardware. Like
also those games they don't work on them for that long.
Oh yeah, that too. But I guess I was thinking more of like, I suppose
Like
it's
they
also
put out
like a bit
they
of
put out
optimization.
Arceus and Scarlet and Violet in the same freaking year.
Yeah.
That just seems like a mistake.
I mean, Pokemon's on their dumb merchandising timeline though.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I was thinking for like, you know, how many titles could you not turn on 3D on 3DS or whatever, or that if you had it on, it was just miserable. Because like they end up, and I feel like Switch kind of comes into the same thing where like they're pushing the hardware beyond what it can really do, but it happens constantly because the hardware is not much to begin with.
I mean, since the Wii, sure, that's been their problem.
Yeah,
GameCube and N64 were like powerhouses, even though like literally everything on N64 chugs.
Yeah, see, Wii was,
but it is a technically a beefier machine than a PlayStation.
Yeah,
harder to emulate.
See, even if they hadn't been like even through Wii, I was just like, I mean, Wii, I wasn't. I guess what was it, 2007? Fine. I was young enough to not like really give it notice necessarily, I suppose. As someone who
usually it was just the resolution was bad.
Yeah. I mean, that I remember like knowing, but and I've also never been like sensitive to that sort of shit, really, as long as it's fun enough.
Yeah, I don't know. The part where they like put out a port of Link to the Link's Awakening on Switch, and it fucking chugs. That's, that was the thing that was like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? You're making a version of a Game Boy game.
For me, it's the fact that it chugs, but if they just fucking took off the weird they have like their depth of field stuff, right? If you remove that, the game runs like pretty fine, is my understanding.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe you could just sacrifice this one thing that nobody would have missed and have your game run okay. Whatever, I guess if it's that important. Yeah, no, that one was... They went too far. They didn't need to go that far.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Nintendo is just not as good as it used to be. Probably because Iwata isn't there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I have a big thing I can point to and say why Nintendo wouldn't be quite as good as it used to be.
Go on. Oh, that.
It would be that Iwata's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of feels, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Like their some of like the best games on Switch that Nintendo put out are still just versions of Wii U era games.
Which ones?
Like Mario Kart, Splatoon.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, Mario Kart, Splatoon, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, like Zelda was a Wii U game, or Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Like, at least Tears of the Kingdom elaborated on it. I guess Splatoon 3 did too, but like, still, I got you. I would agree.
But it's still like the Wii U era is like the defining one for the stuff on Switch, the Nintendo stuff on Switch, that I think is really good.
Yeah.
And that's discounting Mario Odyssey, because I don't fucking like Mario Odyssey that much.
No, Mario Odyssey has like no
Mario Odyssey is probably is like the one you would point to. It's like this is not a Wii U game. This was a Switch game. I can't think of anything else.
Any other like very Switch feeling games? Animal Crossing New Horizons, perhaps?
Is that distinctly different or better than previous Animal Crossings?
It's different. I don't know if that one links directly back to Iwata, but going back to all the other ones and seeing him in the producer credits,
I think,
because he was, you know, he played his role in whatever, but they've gone a different direction.
Yeah.
In particular, I forget if I've mentioned this on the podcast, and I've talked about it a little bit in various spots, but they had whatever Animal Crossing games through New Leaf on the 3DS, and if you go back to like the first one on Nintendo 64/GameCube, it was kind of like you didn't have a ton of control, right? It's more like a little village simulator, like village life sim, where you're interacting with the other people and da-da-da. And same for the DS
You're not
one.
terraforming.
Yeah, and the DS one, like same deal. And then there was some stuff you could like do to change the world in the Japanese version of. Well, they had the N64 one, and they ported that to GameCube, which is what America got. The game was blowing up, so they kind of like reported the GameCube version and added shit to it, and that's for Japan. and that's where you could do like you could place like big structures around the town a little bit. And they brought that back in 3DS, but you're still like, you're the mayor of the town, but you're still like existing within this town. And I forget if all of those games had the same people spearheading them, but then they came out with Happy Home Designer, which was literally just because the community had always been into like designing their shit, right? Like there was half of the people who were like, I love writing letters to the animals, and like I just like existing in this vibe. And the other half was like, I'm going to spend 18,000 hours designing the perfect pink themed room. And Happy Home Designer was just, that's all you did. The person who produced that is now like leading the charge on the series. So like New Horizons is coming in with more of that design perspective. Like there's a distinct shift that I feel like people who bitch about stuff, like they're talking around it, but for some reason don't like realize that the game has been shifting that way for a long time because of the people who like to design. I don't know.
Yeah,
just interesting. When I saw that producer change, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense. Why we're like designing our island to be our dream place.
Totally. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think, like, I feel like the Nintendo polish idea was like of an era, and we're kind of on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But
bit. Like I feel you, because even like for like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or something, like I think the base idea is fucking great. And like even New Horizons, like there's so much good stuff there, but like when it gets built up, you're like, doesn't feel quite there.
My real big problem with Nintendo though is that they ate their handheld market, and just the handheld style games all went away.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a thing. I didn't
like these lower budget, more directed experiences. Just they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, and
that's the Nintendo that I love the most.
And you fucking guy, I didn't think about that until you brought it up, and now I keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now I'm aware.
Like the problem is Pokemon is now a $60 video game instead of a $40 video game.
Yeah. Or like having, I mean, for me it's the Zelda stuff too. Like you would have your big console one for a while there. You had like the big console one, and then there would be like handheld shit going on too that wasn't as big, and it was different.
Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
The best Zelda.
The Link Between Worlds, the fucking all-timer.
Before that, they had Capcom making them.
Which like
Minish Cap and the Oracle games.
Yeah, those games are also fucking good though. Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Even though Minish Cap
technically I think Nintendo didn't make them.
Yeah. So they should just start.
But they had this platform because they had a reason to make them.
Yeah.
Like technically that fucking Link's Awakening remake is sitting in that space, but that was a full-priced video game that didn't run at a smooth frame rate.
Yeah.
That was a remake of a fucking Game Boy game.
I mean, look, if you do the graphics beefy enough, that'll happen. They just didn't need to.
There's something about the look of that game that was like, this is the game that needs some lag. I don't know. Like, because, I don't know, some of those old games had performance issues too. But I feel like if you're making a new version, making it fucking play at a smooth frame rate is important. But
I still can't believe they did a Link's Awakening remake that runs like ass before they brought over Twilight Princess or Wind Waker HD. How? They brought over every other Wii U game that mattered. Like, what are you doing?
Not true. They haven't brought over Star Fox Zero.
No, I said every Wii U game that mattered. I didn't stutter. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to be thinking about that one. Pow.
Star Fox Zero is great for like
I don't even know what Star Fox Zero fucking is. I'm going to be honest with you. Was it just their attempt at taking it back to the original formula or whatever?
Yeah, but it has gyro controls. Only.
Oh. I was like, that sounds okay. Only.
And also, it's just like there are a lot of gimmicky other vehicles.
Oh.
Because Miyamoto was the head of it, so like novelty was
top of the
mind, and they're just not fun.
Yeah.
And the gyro controls, they're fucking, I hate them in most of the levels where there's like, because you have to avoid stuff and shoot stuff at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And the gyro controls are not good for that. The gyro controls are actually really fucking good for like the Star Roll fight when you're in like empty space. There's nothing you're going to run into.
Yeah.
Then it's actually pretty cool because you're like able to like whip around much more aggressively than you would be able to normally. But when you're just, the fact that you're still like shooting is tied to where you're looking is like, I don't know. It's just like, it's too much. I had problems running into stuff with the gyro controls, but mainly the thing was like too many of the stages were built on gimmicky vehicles that were not fun, and were like had to heavily tutorialize them because they were so fucking gimmicky.
Yeah,
just like get tutorialized at half this game that's about like run throughs that you're supposed to want to do over and over again. Like it's still that game.
Yeah. No, when shit gets a little too gimmicky, like that's also
Yeah.
I mean, that's going back to some of the DS shit that I liked. where the point of the game was we have a stylus.
Yeah. I loved Phantom Hourglass when I played it. I could never go back to that video game.
Dude, I played so much Animal Crossing Wild World, and then like the amount of stuff that you can't do with the stylus, or it switches. They had their dumbass control scheme where you could make your character run like, oh, you can just control everything with the stylus. I'm like, I don't actually need to make my character walk by moving the stylus to the edge of the screen. That was a thing that nobody asked for.
Yeah.
And it does it pretty quick. It's not the worst, but if you try going from tapping the screen with the stylus, because you don't, like some stuff you just like that feels more natural, right? To like pick up an apple or something. And then you want to do that and go back to running with the D-pad. There is the teeniest little hitch because it switches back fully to using like button controls. And a little thing even appears in the screen telling you what control scheme you're using.
Mm-hmm. That's just too much.
Yeah, I'm like, it's at the time I was probably just used to it, but now I'm like, you can't even let me just play a hybrid or whatever. You gotta fucking go back and forth.
Sure.
Yeah, that's stylus.
Sure.
Man, oh man.
Video games.
Still
Baldur's
good
Gate
though.
3 is good. Final Fantasy XVI, less good.
Yeah.
It was good for like 2/3. I was having a pretty good time. The other thing is like just the combat got like the game was just too long for its combat.
Sure. Actually, I just thought of it. How much is Baldur's Gate 3? How much? What's it cost?
60.
60? Okay. Because I was looking and I'm like, 30 is not a bad price, and I remember my I'm in third world Steam, so I didn't know if it was the full 60 or not, just because it's I honestly I couldn't remember.
You know,
what
video games now, it's the full 70.
Yeah. But like if they're, if it's not a AAA studio, sometimes it's not. So I didn't know if it was maybe like 40 or something like that. Just a little, 45.
Well, my favorite was Nintendo charging 70 specifically just for Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that was like part of a greater plan or something, because I also had the game vouchers. So like even if you buy a voucher at full price, it's only 50. I don't know. I mean,
is there another Nintendo game I want to buy? Have they released any?
That has in fact been my fucking issue. Yep.
That was my problem the last time they did the voucher program. I was like, oh, Nintendo will put out stuff I want. They just kind of fucking didn't.
That
they put out fewer games than they used to.
That and then the amount of things that are available on the voucher. I'm like, there are so many. It doesn't even have to be like an A-lister. Like I would settle for something. The thing that I want, the thing that I would have fucking already done is if they had like the Final Fantasy remaster collection. Easy grab. But they just have like, I could get like fucking Fire Emblem, I guess.
Hell yeah. That Fire Emblem's not that good.
Both of them? No, 3 of them? There's 3 of them now.
3 of them?
There's, is there 3? Am I fucking...
There's 3 houses and there's Engage.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking of the crossover, the Tokyo Nights or whatever, Tokyo Dancing Nights, fire thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope. The Dynasty Warriors game?
No, it's like the Persona crossover, Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Tokyo Mirage
FE
Sessions
Encore.
Sharp FE, which is a Wii U game.
That is on Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you can also play Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advanced on Switch Online. And they also have...
Okay, well, I was talking voucher games.
They have a release of the first Fire Emblem. And the second or something.
Something.
Like an old NES Fire Emblem is on there too.
Yeah. The few games that I would use a voucher on, like, I already have. And so far, the other stuff that's available is either definitely not voucher material. For example, for me, like, I'm not busting a voucher on fucking Detective Pikachu Returns.
Look at this guy. Denying.
I don't even know, like,
yourself.
or like there's Pikmin, but I don't do Pikmin. And then there's like Super Mario RPG,
then you're
no.
out for Nintendo for the rest of this year, I guess.
Yeah, no, like I'm looking at there's all the pre-order stuff that you can use a voucher on or whatever, and I'm like, I'm fucked. I'm gonna end up busting this voucher out on like, I don't even know, DC Superhero Girls Teen Power, which is eligible for some reason.
Get Mario and Rabbids.
Why is this fucking available? Is it just because Nintendo published it? I guess.
I have no idea.
It just doesn't seem like just seems like a $30 game at most. I was thinking about getting Super Mario 3D World because I don't have it.
That's a good game.
Yeah.
That would be a good one, I would say, if you're
3D World and Bowser's Fury. Well, because I don't have the Wii U anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
also, that Bowser's Fury thing is fun.
That's what I've heard. It looked cool. The other thing was like kind of, I was thinking about New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe just because I don't really have any side-scrolling Marios in my life, but that's an intrusive thought more than anything.
You know, you can play Super Mario World on Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
Or
on 3DS or
Super
on my
Mario
computer,
Brothers 3
or on my phone.
Yeah.
on my refrigerator.
Play Super Mario Land 2, The Six Golden Coins. That's a great one.
That's an all-timer.
It's very easy.
I played the shit up. Excuse you? You think I need a fucking easy Mario game?
No, I'm just stating a fact about that game.
Okay.
I love that game. I've beaten it a lot of times, like recently. It's pretty short and easy.
I think
the only thing that's hard in it really is the last stage, Mario's Castle.
I think I've beaten it twice, and that wasn't even like owning it. There was a kid on my there was only a few kids on my bus when I was little.
The first video game I ever had.
Nice. See, there was a kid on my bus who owned it, and I would just borrow it from him during the length of the bus ride. So I'd beat it twice that way.
Because it's not that long.
Yeah. I mean, it took however many weeks.
Yeah.
But still.
You're only playing on the bus. Couldn't do that with Mario Land 1. Mario Land 1 has no saves. You gotta beat that in one sitting or you're fucked.
Oof. Oh yeah, I could also get Kirby games, but Kirby games also don't strike my fancy too much.
I love Kirby so much, but his video games are kind of boring because they're too easy.
Yeah. I don't need a ton of challenges. Wait, is Kirby's Return to Dreamland the one where you can combine abilities again?
That's the Wii one.
Oh, there's just new copy abilities. I see. No, each copy ability comes with many moves. You can check your... Oh, no. It said combos, and I got baited. No, the first Kirby game I ever played was Crystal Shards on the N64, which you can combine abilities. And then I played the next game, and you couldn't, and I was beyond fucking pissed. I can't make fire arrows. I can't make a flaming sword. Excuse you? What's the point? Why have abilities at all?
The first Kirby game I played was Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy, where Kirby doesn't absorb powers. So every Kirby game since, I'm like, what is this? This isn't Kirby. This isn't the pure gameplay of just flying around.
Puffing at enemies.
Yeah, that's how you attack. You gotta inflate yourself and then you fire.
Yeah.
A little ball. A little puff. I still love that game.
Hell yeah, dude. I don't think I beat it, but I put a chunk of time into it, just going back at some point.
It's not that long.
Yeah.
But it does have a hard mode.
Well, see, that's something.
You take more damage.
Man, I mean, I guess I also could get Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Hell yeah.
Though, see, because that makes me, I'm like, why didn't I just grab this? It's because it makes me feel like I'm wasting my voucher because it's only $50. I need to maximize.
And also, you have to be able to find that game cheaper than that somewhere.
I was gonna say
that's the other thing. Sales.
I've thought about Octopath Traveler, but first off,
that game's on Steam, so
it goes on sale and it goes on Steam, so I can get it for $30.
Yeah.
So it has to be Switch only. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. Whatever.
Can you get Dragon Ball Z Kakarot? Definitely not the best, because that would also probably goes on sale.
No, it's only Nintendo published things.
Okay.
Which is why I was really fucking surprised that DC Supergirls was on there.
Yeah, that's also weird that Dragon Quest Builders would be on there.
I think, is it just Nintendo published? I mean, it says on the thing. Let's see. No, it's not. It's the wrong tab. Eligible Nintendo Switch voucher titles. Let's see. Dragon Quest. I could get Dragon Quest 11S. It says publisher Nintendo. So I guess it's stuff they've published.
Published on Switch by Nintendo, I guess.
Yeah. I could get Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Bleh.
I can't even. Okay. Oh, I see. I was gonna say I can't even tell by looking at this what the hell it is, like genre wise. But then it finally got.
It's like a Diablo.
Yeah. Yeah, most of these are like the games you would expect, I guess. Zelda, Mario stuff. Get Pokken Tournament.
Hell yeah, that's one I bought on Wii U that I'm just like, I can't justify buying this again on Switch. The game is not that good.
I think
it just feels lifeless. Like all the wrapping around it is just not interesting at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the fighting is kind of weird.
I think the weirdest game.
It's all like directional. It's like it doesn't have any like quarter turns. It's all like hold a direction, press a button to do a move.
Oh, yeah.
And it shifts. It has like one gameplay style when you're close, and then when you're far away, it like changes what your buttons do.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's
what I wanted was Pokemon, but Tekken. That's not what I got.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I thought it was. Okay, that explains why it's not as popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of this current list, I guess it would probably be Super 3D World.
Yeah, that's a good one. I fucking love those games.
I mean, I had a great time with it. I just never got around to finishing it.
I 100% had 3D Land.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then Baldur's Gate is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when. I mean, I guess probably if it goes on like a tiny little sale or something for like their, I don't know if it would go on for fall sale, but maybe like Black Friday or whatever. If it's a little off, I'd probably do it. Otherwise, holiday sale, it'll probably be a thing. Because I just want to get it in, because I know it would be in the running, if not just easily my game of the year, based on what I know.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to wait till the end of the year when you can't play it. Got it.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, I just get it because like I want to play it around the time it release, and then I'll talk about it in 2026 when we discuss my 2023 games of the year.
Now is so now I'm hearing you should have played Pyre while Anya was out of town.
Yeah, that would have been a decent one.
Now you could have finished probably.
I mean, look, wait, how long is it? Roughly.
Let me look.
Do you remember? Because here's the thing.
I'll look at how much time I have in it. Pyre. I have 11.2 hours in Pyre.
Oh, that would have. I mean, it would have been doable, but it would have been tight because she's only gone. We wouldn't have been able to record. She's getting in tonight, and I just wasn't playing games at home.
Mm-hmm.
Too busy. Honestly, too busy. People were like, when I visit for Christmas, it's just I get to see everybody, right? I see like all 40 of my mom's side of the family, and then we're good. This time it happened to be people who weren't there last Christmas, so it was kind of nice, but they were like drip feeding in. So like one week it was a couple people, and then the next week it was more people who like stayed for a week. And like that's great, but also like,
man,
goddamn, get out of my house, leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
I want to sit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but whatever.
My last thing on Baldur's Gate 3, I just want to say, is that I have more hours in Baldur's Gate 3 than I have in Elden Ring already.
I mean, the one that was wild.
And I put over 100 hours in Elden Ring and beat every unique boss.
Yeah. I mean, what got me was how fast you surpassed fucking Mechabellum, because you were hot on that game.
Yeah, Mechabellum, I'm at like 7. I'm close to 70. I'm at
Yeah.
65.9.
Yeah, and then you surpassed that really fast, like fucking really fast.
The other comparison is XCOM 2, which is like that's base XCOM 2. I played like 30 hours in like one weekend or something.
Yeah.
Even though my end of that game was like, this game's fucking broken, but I was extremely addictive.
Yeah.
And then War of the Chosen, where I was like, oh, now this game's actually great and addictive.
I guess.
And Baldur's Gate 3 is I've now put more hours into it. And the big thing is like with Elden Ring last year, like I hit a point like I don't play games like this. I like to go hard on a game and then put it to the side, or I have a game that I'm playing all the time, like it's Mechabellum or HOTS or whatever, like a multiplayer thing. The fact that like Baldur's Gate 3 still has my attention, I'm like thinking about doing future playthroughs of it after this one, because there's still so much to mess with. Because like the story stuff is good, the permutation stuff with dialogue, but also the combat, it's like this kind of turn-based combat that I just really enjoy. Like it like it starts as like normal RPG combat in that you have like you get like 4 characters and you're doing your thing, and like at its high end it's like fucking tactical warfare where I have like all these minions and there are so many enemies.
Yeah.
And then on top of like, you know, how do you break shit? Which honestly, other than that one combat, I haven't really done too much of. But
I mean, yeah, it's for how much it's held your attention. I mean, it's a good sign for me.
it's certainly held my attention.
I'm trying to.
And I was extremely hyped on it, and it was just, yeah, this is the game I thought I was getting.
I guess
I wish it were a little less buggy, but meh.
I guess the closest thing for me that I would compare it to, because like I have a lot of hours and a lot of shit, right? But like, there's no point in comparing it to even like Monster Hunter, because that's just, you know, that's a different thing. I guess like the RPG would be like Skyrim. I like 368 hours in that. Cause like I would just play through half the time. I wouldn't even beat the fucking game, because I would just have a character concept in mind and I would role play as that character. And I'd like go through and do the shit, and then like whenever I felt their story was done, it was done, and I just like eat them.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I mean, Elden Ring's conking out for me at 41 hours. And I don't have too many in that genre.
Yeah. The big thing is I haven't felt any like getting tired of the game yet.
Yeah.
Which is wild, because I've usually hit that at like, the single player thing. If I'm getting into like 20 plus hours, or like definitely by 30, I'm usually like, fucking, how am I still playing this game?
Yeah, I remember you feeling that way with Elden Ring, but that was because I took your Hoarfrost stomp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They suddenly made everything hard again. After I would like burned through a bunch of the game and was ready to like burn through the rest the next day. Like it was literally like just going to bed one way and waking up the next day going, oh, I have to start over. I have to learn something new.
Yeah.
The bigger one would be like the Metal Gear Solid 5. I completely burned out 35 hours in.
Oh, like, sure.
This game is it's just too long.
Yeah.
Whereas Hollow Knight is like 40, and that game is just great. But yeah, it's just unusual for me to play a single player game this much, but it's been fun.
Nice.
And the bigger thing, like for me personally, I think is like, because it's like turn based, it's way easier for me for it to hold my interest than like an action game. An action game, they're fun, but like
you wear out.
I wear out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Nice.
It's just like, and like the spectacle moments, like the big boss fight, like it also hit good high notes.
Oh hell yeah! Oh dude, I'm super excited to play that game. In actuality, I'll probably get it before a sale.
Mm-hmm. And I could easily see you burning up before finishing Act 1. That could just happen.
Yeah, I mean it goes one of two ways, I suppose.
Yeah.
It either goes like I'll dump in 100 hours and not beat it, or I'll dump in like 600 hours. There's not gonna be, for a game like that. I mean, maybe it won't hit 100 hours, but like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. As long as I don't start trying to do it multiplayer, which is a death sentence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Part of the thing for me is that this is D&D 5e, so I like know the systems. Because that was my thing of like about going back to Divinity Original Sin 2 was just like not wanting to like track down spells to buy them or whatever, because you have to like buy your skills off certain vendors. Like was just like a level of annoyance to me. Whereas in Baldur's Gate, I can build my broken fighter build that I built. I played in actual tabletop and have a great time. My polearm sentinel fighter, and then I can marry her.
I can build my druid.
Also, it's like the reason I saying married. There's like nothing like that in the game actually, but there is like a pair of rings you find that it's like linked, and you cast like protection spell on the other person having the other ring. So I made the character and the character I romanced have those rings.
Nice. It's pretty good.
They're marriage bands.
I mean, yeah. They know what they were doing.
Those people, they were in like a death cult though. They definitely like stabbed themselves to death.
I thought you were talking about the devs for a second.
No,
I was like, hold up.
The NPCs I got those rings from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good game.
Nice.
I'm just, when you play a game where Godzilla and Mothra do the fusion dance to defeat King Ghidorah, you kind of think that might be your game of the year, but sometimes that's not enough.
I mean, it certainly doesn't sound like it.
Sometimes the rest of the game matters.
Go fucking figure, yeah.
That game, Final Fantasy 15 or 16, literally just steals the end of Azura's Wrath, but it's just so much worse. It's like literally the same climactic moment. It's just copying from that fucking game, but it just like has none of the weight.
Yeah,
because it doesn't have any of the emotion tied into it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have enough Naruto in it.
Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Because that's Azura's Wrath. The actual good Azura's Wrath games, if you want to play something that's like Azura's Wrath but not Azura's Wrath, are the Naruto games.
You gotta watch yourself. I'm hovering over the stop button on this.
Because that's what The Azura's Wrath game. Those are the games the Azura's Wrath devs made. Or the Naruto games.
I'm gonna fucking do it.
Soul Circle Podcast. You know, Soul Circle Pod on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Comic Panels. There's this YouTube video.
This is even worse. Now we're going out on a Naruto note.
It's like 10 minutes long. And it goes through 4 of the Naruto openings, and it shows like the entire plot of Naruto in 10 minutes. And I love it because it's just like, remember the parts of Naruto that are good and like just 10 minutes and you're done? Oh, it's great. What a good video.
We had such a nice chat. You just fucking torpedoed it for no reason. Why'd you got?
Because Naruto's good and Game of Thrones is bad.
You just Naruto'd it's not good. It's in the trifecta. I've removed Inuyasha from the center of that triangle because that one might be okay.
Look, Naruto's better than Inuyasha. That's all I'm saying.
Have you seen Inuyasha?
Yeah. I haven't seen all of Inuyasha.
Wow, you're probably missing the best parts.
You're
probably missing the coolest shit.
I've seen episodes of Inuyasha. Which are pretty good, but there's just like too much of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's too much of a lot of anime. There's too much anime.
There's too much Naruto. There's definitely too much Naruto. Yeah. All that filler is terrible.
Yep,
Awful.
That's the only thing that's terrible about it.
There are a bunch of good fights in that show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's character growth.
Character growth? Okay. Disgusting.
Peace.